Hello, hello, hello. Looks like there's about a half a minute delay here. Just coming online today to kind of touch base with everybody, see what y'all want to talk about, find out what you think about some of the things I'm doing. Hey there, Dee Dee. Glad to see you, my dear. I've started doing yearly readings that are pay per download, and I wanted to know what do you guys think of those. Marcy Bonds, hello, hello. I'm fantastic, Dee Dee. How are you? You know me, I'm alive, I'm breathing. I'm doing what I love to do for a living, readings and reiki. Life is just good, 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 and getting better all the time. How are you? Christine Allen, hello, hello, welcome. Glad to see you in the room. How are you? So I want to touch base with you guys about some stuff, and I also want to do just little mini reading, maybe one mini reading for somebody, and pull a few cards for a few people. We'll see where we end up at the end of this time. So first, just kind of curious, what do you guys think about paying for yearly overview videos? I've started making some and I realized that like almost nobody has bought any, and I'm like, maybe this is not what people are interested in. Karen B, hello, hello, glad to see you here. How are you? Thank you on the congratulations. Yes, I am a Reiki master now. Thank you to everybody who has supported me. As a matter of fact, we're having a little Reiki celebration, which means any Reiki that you purchase from me that's listed on my website is 25% off for everybody. If you're somebody who supported me during my apprenticeship financially, then you get a discount of 50% off if you want to buy any Reiki. Between now and the 15th of October, I do have a notebook which has every single person who donated. Even if you just donated $1, your email is in here. If we got a chance to talk to each other, your name is in here. I will know. So if you want to get your Reiki at 50% off now is the time to do that. I wasn't even thinking about that. Thank you for reminding me, Dee Dee. I'm glad to hear that you're good, honey. So far, the only ones that I've made, Marcy, are Libras, because we came into Libra sun time. And I know I have quite a few regulars who are Libras. I thought, well, this will be a good indication of whether people want them or not. I was kind of surprised at the response. If you're interested in classes with me, contact me, send me an email. We'll have to set up some kind of time. Right now, I don't have any classes on the schedule because nobody's really expressed any kind of interest in them in a while. So if we get a class time and we get that scheduled, then I'll put out the word that I'm having classes again and see, who all shows up. It's all about timing, You got to be there in time for the people. And so it's been quiet, but I think if I start classes up, people will be ready for that again. You're a Libra. Well, check it out. My yearly overviews are extremely thorough. I started out deciding I'm just going to do a 20-minute yearly overview. And then I was thinking, well, that's what everybody else does. Maybe I should do something different. So I decided I was going to do 12 cards for each month. And then by the time I started doing that, I realized, wow, that's going to be a long reading. So I broke it down by month. So you can buy either each month as you go along, or you can buy the whole year. I've got a general yearly overview for Libras, and I've got a love yearly overview, 2 different ones out there. So, aw, Karen, that's so cool. Reiki is awesome, really. Doesn't have so much to do with me as much as Reiki is just amazing and awesome. Okay, Christine, I like that. That's good. We can do that. So for everybody that's here right now, I think I want to pick somebody to do a little bit of a reading for. I'm going to call it a mini reading. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do what I would normally do for somebody in a live reading to start the reading off, which is my, I call it my verification process. And it gives you an idea of how accurate I can be and all of that good stuff and my communication style, yada, yada. So I'm going to pick somebody to do that. So right now, it looks like there's 2 of you watching, so there's not a lot of competition. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to pick a number between 1 and 36. Whoever's closest to the number that I that I have written down on my notebook before we started this, you will be the one who gets a little mini reading here on live. Your blood sugar is whack. Advice. What have I heard that's good for blood sugar? Garlic? Garlic is one thing. You might want to double check it, but I think I've heard ginger is too. I don't know. You want to double check that. I would say Dee Dee Ryan put in 16, Kristen put 27, Karen B put 17. Anybody else with a number between 1 and 36 for a little mini reading in live? 22. Cinnamon. I knew there was something I was forgetting. Cinnamon is good. Thank you, Christine. Keto. I don't know what keto is. Okay, so 5 watching now. 1, 2, 3, 4. We only have 4 numbers. Anybody else want to put your number in for a reading, a little miniature reading in live? Just guess a number 1 between 36. I'm going to pick whichever number is the closest to the one I had written down before I even came online. Vicky Tan, here we go. 33. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the number I had written down. I don't know how well you can see it, hopefully well. That's 18. Dee Dee Ryan was, no, we've got 2. Dee Dee Ryan and Karen B both were the closest. We've got 16, 17. No, Karen is 17. That's the closest. Karen B, you are the winner. Sorry, Dee Dee, for the false hope there. Uh-oh, I guess I better turn my phone off, or at least make it be quiet. Be quiet. All right, so Karen, are you ready? Ketogenic diet. Oh, is that what you're doing right now? You're quite welcome. Always got to go with that first intuition. Well, there'll be another chance later on. We're going to pull numbers one more time. We're not doing it right now, though. At least we will if we have time. Okay, so this is for Karen B. You guys will probably recognize this is my favorite spread. So I use it for my Tarot Insights videos as well. So you may recognize it already. Karen B, have you had a reading with me before? Because I'm thinking that you're somebody that lives in the UK and you've done some internet readings with me before. Is that right? Or are you somebody that I'm completely not familiar with? Okay. Alrighty. All right, let's see what comes up from Miss Karen B. Miss Karen B. All right, Ms. Karen B, the first card that I'm looking at talks to me about your environment. Your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. For most people, it does show up as home. You may recognize it as work or as school. You'll know where I'm talking about here. What I'm seeing is, looks to me like there's an environment where you were feeling very isolated for a while, and just recently you've started to have more social interaction in that environment. So if that's home, it could be that, you know, you were staying at home, maybe you have roommates and they were going on vacation and now they're back or whatever. There's new social interaction going on around your environment, and it's been quiet. It's been feeling isolated before that. Next thing I'm looking at, my dear, is your subconscious leanings. Okay, Karen, looks to me like your self esteem, that's the word I'm looking for. Your self-esteem has been taking a hit, and so you're really subconsciously you're trying to figure out. It's not even like you're trying to lift your self-esteem. It's almost like you're trying to figure out what your self-esteem is. Like you're just kind of fluctuating and floating there. So your subconscious is trying to get all that sorted out. Thank you for the verification on the environment thing. All right, next we're looking at learning style and communication style. So learning style, this is a cool card. This card actually, this is the Queen of Vessels. I always think of it really more as the salmon. This deck, my court cards, I think of as experiences more than people usually. But the reason I say it's a cool card, this is actually came up in a position where I talk about learning style and communication style. And one of the things is that the little acorns or whatever these nuts are on the card actually talk about wisdom. So this tells me that you have a lot of wisdom. And to me, wisdom comes from experiencing things hands-on, you know, from all those times of going around the track. So with your learning style, I feel like, you know, you're learning a lot firsthand. You're learning as you're doing, okay? Now, communication style. I feel like lately there's been a lot of emotion in your communication. So you may have been, you know, super happy, super sad, whatever it is. I think you're expressing a lot of emotion. And it's interesting because it comes up like this emotion is coming out. And as soon as it comes out, then you're calm again. You're back to, okay, steady Eddie as far as emotionally. So there we go. La da da da. Thank you for that other verification. Next card I'm looking at talks to me about your work. So for me, you know, Karen, and for those of you who haven't seen me read before, work for me is two different things. It's talking about those things that we do to feel productive in society or to earn a living, to make money. And then there's also the work that has to do with those things that we do to improve our own character and make us happier with ourselves. So we're going to look at outside work first, or work for money, or work to feel productive. Whenever I'm looking at work for you, Karen, I'm seeing that there's actually a lot of fear around work right now. So this can be something where maybe you're fearful that you won't be able to find a job if you're looking for a job. This can be if you are working already. This could be where there's a lot of fear around your job, how long it'll be available, or what's the boss going to do next. There could just be, you know, changes coming down that you could be, you know, wondering, okay, how is all this going to pan out? I'm not sure I'm ready to deal with all this. Could be something like that. Anyway, the bottom line here is that there's definitely a lot of fear whenever it comes to work for you, and that's talking about tangible work. Okay, so next thing that we have going on here is also about that inner work. So let's take a peek. The inner work ties right in. Yes, I'm glad it's a lot better. That's awesome. So inner work ties right into outer work to me. To me, I was just going to say that it feels like your inner work has been to really deal with those fears and sort of sort through them and make them less than what they are. So in other words, you've been considering, okay, well, what's so scary about this? Why is it so scary? What would I do in the worst case scenario? And then, you know, you're starting to realize, well, the world wouldn't end. I mean, there are things I could do. It's not that bad. Okay, so that's the inner work. Next, what we're looking at is that part of you that's being grown or expanded a lot. I like this card. I've always liked this card. This is the Nine of Stones. It would normally be the Nine of Pentacles in another deck, but I really see it as a very different meaning. There are some similar overtones, but it's a very different meaning. This guy is in his Zen place, basically. You see all the rocks behind him. This is talking about stability. The horns talk about his own strength. The snake talks about his own wisdom. And I never can remember the name of this little gold thing that he's holding on to. But that talks about his own power, you know. And then you've also got the moon behind. That talks about being reflective, inner vision, things like that. So I always say this very much as that Zen place. So that's what we're looking at, that part of your personality that's being grown or expanded right now. A lot of inner work, right? So you're learning how to be in that calm Zen place no matter what's going on around you. You're learning about your own strengths. You're recognizing your own wisdom. You're recognizing the power that you have over your own life. And you're recognizing that even though things might look a little hairy, you really have a lot of security in your life. So for somebody that maybe they don't have a lot of money or a big house, this can be about, that you have a support network that doesn't let you down. Yep. In spite of your broken toe. Broken bones can be very distracting from Zen, so you're doing pretty well if you're doing that in spite of a broken toe. All right, so let's move on to the next card. This one talks to me about things that you stand for. This could come in a couple of ways, so I want to feel around about what way it's coming in before I start just yammering away here. Okay, so Karen, to me, this talks about that there's some kind of healing going on, and I think this is a healing that's not just about your toe or anything else physical, as much as it's about emotional stuff. You're going through some kind of healing emotionally, and I think that you're sharing this experience with someone else. So it's you and someone else together going through some emotional healing. So this can be a relationship that maybe was on the rocks or didn't get off to a good start, maybe even, but has been having trouble, and the two of you are finding healing in this relationship. Might be a romantic relationship, doesn't have to be. Excuse me. This could even be a relationship with parents that's getting better, and you're finding some healing in that. So this is an interesting card to come up in this position, though, because it talks about, thank you. It talks about that you've had to stand up for this. You've had to sort of defend this. So this kind of tells me that there's somebody around you that, your relationship, whichever relationship this is, your relationship is getting better. Excuse the noise outside if you guys picked that up on the mic. I'm sure that's neighbors. But if your relationship has been getting better, there's somebody that's been actually criticizing the idea of the improvement of this relationship. And you've had to say, I don't know what your problem is, but I want this relationship to get better. So mind your own business or something along those lines. Maybe you said something more tactful than me. All right. Next thing that I'm looking at is how other people perceive you. Karen, I think you're going to think this is funny. Okay, so you've got the Six of Bows showing up here, which has a completely different meaning than in any other deck I've ever seen. By the way, I am using my Wildwood Tarot for those of you who are wondering. Six of Bows just means that, Karen, you're going through, the other persons are seeing you as being in a time when you have everything that you need. That you're in a time when, your supplies are not lacking. And that's a very physical, tangible thing. The literal label on this card is abundance. And so other people are perceiving you as having plenty. Okay, thank you for that last verification. So everything that we're looking at so far, Ms. Karen, is all going to be current for you. Okay, so you should recognize all of that, which it sounds like you do, looks like you do. Next, what we're going to look at are things that may or may not be in the future. So you might recognize it because it might be happening, or you might not because it may not have even started yet. So what we're looking at basically is a life cycle, which just sets us up to either learn something or experience something. So next, what we're going to look at, what we just looked at was the setup. Next, we'll look at the lesson or the experience, and then we'll look at what happens as you incorporate that lesson or experience into the life cycle. And as we incorporate that, I'll call that the end of the life cycle or the completion of the life cycle or the ultimate fulfillment of the life cycle. That doesn't mean like, right before you kick the bucket, this is your ultimate fulfillment. It just means that before you move on to the next life cycle where you have your next lesson or experience. So let's not be confused there. All right, lesson or experience for Miss Karen. This is powerful, honey. This is all about finding yourself and really exploring your own self and finding out who you are in a big way. This is almost taking me back to the 60s. You know, in the 60s, there were a lot of people that were finding themselves. I think you're exploring what does make you happy, what works for you is the thing that comes through as most dominant on this theme for this card right now for you is, you know, you're finding what works for you. You've had a lot of stuff that doesn't really work for you. Now you're starting to find what works for you. Okay. I'm not even picking up you're finding what makes you happy as much as you're finding what makes you feel like things are good, things are fine. Okay. So this is a little bit of a this is definitely an upgrade from where you've been. I would so love to see you upgrade even more than this, and I'm sure you will over time, actually. So the beginning of the journey, let's call that the beginning of the journey. You're finding out what works for you. Okay, so, sister. All right. As you are figuring out what works for you, we've got some things going on. First of all, we've got this card that comes up that's called balance in this deck. I'm showing it to you upside down because it came in upside down. I'm going to show it to you right side up. Normally, I see this as more of an experience than as a person, but I have to tell you that when I feel into this card, Karen, this is a balance card, but it's in reverse. Something's not balanced. And what I'm feeling like is you are interacting with somebody who is not balanced. And when I say not balanced, I mean they're not okay. And when I say they're not okay, I have my own way of talking, I guess. When I say they're not okay, I mean they're not thinking really the way most of us think. Okay. So when you're dealing with this person, like they may have set certain expectations and told you, you know, I want this or this or this or this. And then you give them the this or this or this or this that they say that they want. And then they're not happy with that. In fact, they may tell you, I don't want that. What are you doing? You know, this type of experience with them. You're nodding away there. So this is somebody that you're dealing with that, you know, because they're not balanced, it's really hard for you to keep your steadiness around him because the expectations continuously change. And so what you're doing to keep this person happy, or maybe even to keep this person pacified even more than happy, is always changing. Like what works to do that is always changing. So it trips you up. So this card is not so much talking about that you are becoming unbalanced because of it, which it's kind of a side effect, but that's not the main theme here. This is really talking about you're dealing with this person. And when this comes up as a part of this, you know, in conjunction with that lesson or experience of finding out what works for you, this is really telling me that you are learning how to deal with this person in a way where you get to stay sane and okay yourself, whatever that ends up looking like for you. If that means I'm only talking to you on text, if that means I'm not seeing you anymore, whatever that looks like for you in dealing with that person. Okay. But you are adapting. You are learning how to still be okay, even while you're interacting with this person. Right? That makes a lot of sense according to, I mean, that just fits these cards perfectly. Okay. The other thing that we have going on while you're dealing with this unbalanced person is I don't think that you're letting him fully into, you know, I always talk about, you know, a sphere of influence. You guys, I know you've heard me say that a lot in my videos before if you've listened to me before. So you have this person that, you know, we have a sphere of influence that is the people who know the most about us. And then we have a sphere of influence that is people who know quite a bit about us, but they're not in on the inner secrets. And then we have people that know a lot more about us, you know, and then we have the general public. I don't see you letting this person into that inner sphere of influence for you. I see you holding him back out. I don't see you encouraging him to come around. I don't see you trying to get things back the way they used to be with this person. In fact, I would say that you are more holding them at a distance as you're going through this. You're like, you know what, I'm not sure if I'm ready for you to be back because I'm not sure I can deal with all your craziness. Okay, so the next thing that we have coming up, you are really going to wig on this one. I think that the topic of marriage, if it hasn't already, will be coming up between the two of you. And I think that you're going to be telling this guy, not even going there. But I do think that topic's going to come up. It's going to come up and you're going to be, I don't think you're going to agree to it at all. All right, so that's the end of that life cycle. So is there anything I talked about here that you didn't know what I was talking about, Miss Karen? Anything you have questions about, like you didn't understand what I was saying? Have I? I am really bad about not remembering what came up in readings. I think it's because it's not my information, it's Spirit's information flowing through me. So it comes in and it goes out and it's done. Totally? Okay, awesome. Thank you for allowing me to use you as a guinea pig and demonstrate on you. All right, what does anybody else want to talk about? Do some of you have stuff going on in your own spiritual lives that you have questions about? You would love to talk to somebody who has fully developed their abilities or anything like that going on that you want to discuss? Any other topics that you guys want to talk to me about? Or you guys just want readings? You're quite welcome, Miss Karen. Okay, well, I was thinking maybe I could do another long reading, but I'm kind of out of time for that. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to do little short readings for everybody that's here. So whoever wants a little short, I'm just going to pull 3 cards for you. Just type me here in the text box, and I'll tell you what I see for you, or what comes up in the cards for you. Let's put it that way. Sarah D. Me. Oh, Marcia, I didn't know you were here. Glad you're here, honey. If you go to my website and click on the tab that says Readings, Marcy, it'll go down. It'll be like live readings, internet readings, 1 and 2 question readings, weekly downloads, and yearly overviews. If you click on yearly overviews, that'll take you to the page that kind of explains what is there. And so far, all I've got is Libra. So there's one little button there. It says Libra. Click on Libra, and that'll take you to the page where you can actually get them. Because they are so thorough, they're more high priced than a lot of the other ones you're going to see out there. But that's because it took me like 3 days to put together you guys' yearlies. I figured I really had to charge something. Okay, so the first one that said me was Sarah D. We're going to start with Sarah D. Sarah D, 3 cards coming up for you. This is going to be like a message of the day is what I'm pulling for you guys now. So messages of the day are something that's going to be really current. Either it's happened within the past 24 hours or it's going to happen within the next 24 hours. So let's see what comes up. So if you don't recognize it already, then I would be expecting. Looks to me, Sarah D, like you have a decision to make about whether you want to, I'm not exactly sure how I want to say these words. Whether you want to give a gift or pay somebody back, it could be either way here, to somebody who is, and you know that if you would give them this gift or if you would pay them back for something that they have done for you, that it would make them very happy. But you have a decision to make about this, and part of that decision happens to be that whatever you would give or pay back, whatever that is, I feel like that would really kind of crunch things up for you and tighten up your belt. And so that's why the decision. I think that you would love to do this for this person. You're just not sure if that's going to put you in a bad place or not. Does that make sense for you, Miss Sarah D? Yeah, I didn't see you walk in the door, Marcia. Okay, awesome. Thank you for the verification, honey. Let's see. Marcia, I think you are next. Are you ready, Ms. Marcia? Dee Dee, you're in the batter's box. I think for Marcia, I want to use these cards. No, I want to use these cards. Ms. Marcia, Ms. Marcia. The delay here is a little frustrating. La da da, la da da. You're scared. Okay, well, I'll skip you, honey. We don't have to do a message for you if you're scared. Dee Dee, are you ready? La da 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 la da da da. Oh, you don't want me to skip you? Okay, let me pick your deck back up again. You shuffle the right deck for you. All these decks are calling out to me. They want to do different people. Different decks want to do different people. I haven't missed you. I've only done one person so far other than the big long one. Everybody else is still waiting. You're just waiting right with them. Oh, I did miss you. You're right before Dee Dee, aren't you? You can be after Dee Dee. We'll fit you in. We'll get you fit in before I'm done. Okay, so Ms. Marcia, Ms. Marcia, Ms. Marcia, Ms. Marcia. Okay, so here's what you've got going on, my dear. Ms. Marcia, you are losing some insecurities that you've had for a long time. You're letting them go. Starting to feel more secure about yourself and your life. You're starting to get the big picture too. It looks to me like you're starting to understand things from more of a view of being like above and looking at things rather than being like right in the middle of stuff and not being able to see the view because of all the details. You're starting to get some detachment about some situations in your life and being able to see how things really are more accurately than you could before. Excuse me. The other thing that comes up is that you are in the process of manifesting something that you've been wanting in your life. And it's not here yet, but you're probably seeing the first little baby steps of that manifestation come into being. Does that make sense for you, my dear? I think because I said Dee Dee Ryan's going to be next, Dee Dee's going to be next, and then Christina, it's going to be you. See if that makes sense to Ms. Marcia before I shuffle her cards back in, though. Okay, cool, cool. Awesome. I'm glad to see that for you. Congratulations. I love it that you're losing some of your insecurities. Okay, Dee Dee Ryan. Much love to you, sweetheart. See you the next time. Peace out. Dee Dee Ryan coming right up. Dee 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 Dee. Dee Dee, you're somebody who supported me with the Reiki. Right now, if you want Reiki at half off, it is available to you. Not trying to twist your arm or anything, but just so you know. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Dee 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 Ryan. Mm-hmm. Dee Dee, you've got some good stuff going on here. You're getting way, 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 way focused on the things that you want to make priorities in your life, and it feels good. It feels good. It feels like you're really getting into your calling and doing what you came here to do. So it feels really good to you to get focused on it. I also think that as you're getting focused on it, you are cutting out the, I want to say the C word that's 4 letters, but I shouldn't. But you're cutting out the baloney. There are certain people in your life that you've been generous to that have just not really taken that generosity and moved forward with it at all. And so you're like, what? Why am I wasting my time? This is not helping you, and it's certainly not helping me. And so you're done with that. And that's a part of your focusing, actually. It's a part of you focusing on what you're doing moving forward is to, um, well, Spirit is saying, get the riffraff out of the way. But you're actually, you're removing things that are holding you back and sort of dragging you down, keeping you from moving forward. So that's what I've got for you, honey bunny. Does that make sense? Christine, you're in the batter's box. Okay, Christine, are you ready? I'm not hearing from Dee Dee. Maybe she already logged out. She might have said, sweet, awesome, I'm out of here. Okay, we're going to pull 3 for you. Excuse me. Oh, honey, you're in a situation, aren't you? Okay, Christine, it looks like you have a choice to make in your life right now. And that choice is very similar to a part of what came up in Dee Dee's 3-card peek. I don't even want to call it a reading, 3-card peek. You have a situation in your life where you can cut off somebody who you've been being very generous to, but they're actually taking advantage of your generosity. Oh, awesome. Good, Dee Dee. I know you got some really good cards. That following your life path is focusing on it. Yes. Good. I don't even know. I'm going to have people holler me again, Marcy, because I'm sure there's other people still here too. And I don't know who's in order next, and I'm not going to scroll. So, but that's going to be after I finish with this. So let me get back focused. This is for Christine. So Christine, you have a choice of cutting off people who have been abusing your generosity. So you've been trying to help them in hopes that they would be moving forward and making progress in their lives. And really they haven't. What they've been doing is just becoming more and more dependent on you. And the other choice is to keep the peace. So it looks to me like, the reason I said you're in a situation, it looks to me like if you keep helping these people, then that kind of keeps peace around you. It keeps people from having fits and going crazy and just doing nutty stuff that is hard to have your Zen time with. Or you can actually do what it takes to take care of yourself and tell them that they're going to have to take care of their own stuff. And then you're basically going to have, what I'm hearing is you're going to have a war on your hands. So I don't know what's going to be, I mean, looking at these 3 cards, you've got a heck of a choice in front of you. And I don't know what's going to actually be the best for you other than to get like away from these people to where they can't even contact you. I don't know if that's even feasible for you or not. This would be something I would love to do a reading on, honey, and just sink my teeth into for you. Because look at what happens if you do this, what happens if you keep keeping the peace, because This would be a tough decision. This would be a tough decision. I think you're going to get so much resistance from these other people. All right, so does that make sense to you, my dear? Okay, my dear. Awesome. All right, and then let's see here. Marcy's the only one still talking, so actually I am going to do Marcy next. And then if there's anybody else in the room that I have not read for, let me know, because I don't want to skip anybody. So Marcy, these are going to be your 3 cards that I'm doing right now. Are you ready, my dear? You're quite welcome, Christine. Marcy, I just lost like, how many were there? 5 cards fell out of the deck. For me, when I'm shuffling for people and 5 cards fall out of the deck and they're not getting a real reading yet, this kind of says that's Spirit's way of cluing me in. This person actually needs like a whole freaking reading. One question is not going to cover it. So are you around? Are you ready? If I don't hear from Marcy soon, I'll have to see who else would like to have a reading. Okay, she's ready. Okay, let's see here. What's going to come up for Ms. Marcy? Marcy. Well, you have some interesting cards coming up here. I'm just feeling into these before I start talking. I hate opening my mouth and blabbering before I'm sure. It's always important to get these things right, whether you're just doing them off the cuff in a free little thing or whether you're doing them in a real reading. It's always important to be right because information is precious. I think you've got a situation, Miss Marcy, where you're trying to well, first of all, let me just say, if you haven't already within the past 24 hours, I think that you will be getting a good message about money or about material goods, something that you're happy to hear. At the same time that that's going on, though, it looks to me like there's somebody in your life who kind of has ideas about how your money should be handled. And I think that even when you have good news about money that comes in, this person's ideas about how your money should be handled don't change. It looks to me like the situation should change, how they view how your money should be handled should change, but it's not. Or maybe even the idea that this person thinks they have anything to do with your money should change. But I don't see that happening. And I see this as being, the way these cards are coming up, this is really not a fair situation. So if you get good news about money, this other person may already have plans on how you can spend it. Like, I don't know if this is one of your children, if this is a significant other, if this is just somebody you're dating, but there's somebody in your life that definitely thinks that they should have the say-so over what happens with your money. And if you get good news about money, they still should have the say-so over that. And the money should still go where they think it should go more than you. So, and that's their view. That's not my view. That's their view. I don't know what you're going to do about this spoiled brat person, but does that make sense to you, my dear? Man, that took me a while to feel around because I was like, nobody would let this happen, would they? You turned somebody into a monster, didn't you, Marcy? All right, is there anybody else here that I have not read for yet? Oh, yeah, gotcha. Well, even like if you get a raise or a promotion, I think this person, like, nothing changes. It's all going to be what he thinks it should be, unless you stand up for yourself. But I think that you're getting some kind of good news about money, and I don't think you're going to benefit from it that much because of this other person. Right? All right, so let's see. Anybody else? Anybody else? We've got 5 people in the room now. I don't know if any of these people are new people that haven't been read for, but if anybody wants a few cards pulled before I go, speak now or forever hold your peace. We've got a delay here, so I'll wait about a minute to see if anybody shows up with a little me. And then after that, I think I'm going to go ahead and boogie on out of here. Thank you all so much for coming out and hanging out with me while I was here today. I know this was pretty impromptu. You didn't get very much notice, but I enjoy having the company. I enjoy the chance to do these quick little reads. They're a lot of fun. Yeah, it looks like you've been standing your ground. It also looks like this other person is pretty darn stubborn. You're quite welcome, Marcia. You're quite welcome, Marcy. Okay, guys, there we go. 1 minute. Was yours related to work or relationship? La, 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 la. What were we seeing for you? Oh, we had that person you were dealing with. I would say you can tell that by looking at that person that you were dealing with that's not balanced, whatever part of your life he falls into. Now, of course, the part that talks about work, inner work and also money-making work, that part is actually going to deal about, literally like where you work, what you do for a living, that one part of it. But that whole theme is going to be more about your experience, about finding yourself and dealing with that other person. That's going to be like the biggest energy that's moving right now. And a lot of times these overlap too, so a lot of things that come up may apply to both. Oh, the war. You had the war one. Oh, I was thinking of something else. Hang on. That one, if you can't tell, it's probably both. Excuse me, dust in my throat. Typically when I read, if I can't decide on one or the other, it's usually both, so you probably have both. Peace out, everybody.